to satsang. Satsang is eternal welcoming. So it's basically the self, the true self, the one and only self that welcomes itself. The welcoming of the self is a recognition that what you are is not a mortal form, that what you are is consciousness. What you are is the reality of what is perceived. You are not an event that is perceived, an event that is occurring in time and space. The recognition is that I am that to which all perceptions, all sensations, all thoughts appear. Although I, the reality, the truth, the self, do not appear as a form, all forms appear through me. They are known by me, they are revealed to me, and they are arising from me. That is the welcoming that satsang is. Satsang is the welcoming, is the recognition that I am the borderless presence, the reality of all that is, and that this reality is not contained, is not limited to any form, is not limited to an image, is not limited to a memory, is not limited to an identification, is not born, is not happening in space and time, is not growing old, is not aging, is not improving. So the revelation, the spiritual journey, is about arriving to this clarity, the clarity about what I am, what I truly am, and not any story about what I am. All of us have stories, ideas about what we are. They're like inherited ideas, inherited stories about when we are born and how we grew up and all our history. And we believe that that's what we are, that we are an event in time and space. We all have this conditioning. We've all inherited this conditioning, which is the identification with a form. And via this inheritance, this unfortunate inheritance, we have inherited also the concern about what is going to happen to me in time, regrets about what happened to me in the past, and concerns about what is going to happen to me tomorrow. So the revelation, the contemplation of truth, reveals that nothing ever happens to you. Whatever happens, happens within you as a dream event. Like in your night dream, you dream that you are flying over the meadows, or you dream that you are a butterfly, or you dream that you are a 10-year-old boy or 10-year-old girl or whatever. These dreams arise out of you, they're made out of you, they're entertaining, they're amusing, there is a story that occurs, but the true you is untouched by these dreams, is not an object in the dream. The true you, the dreamer, is not an object in the dream. Similarly, in the waking state, what you truly are, consciousness, awareness, presence, knowingness, is not an event that occurs in the perception, in the perceptual field. So that is a contemplation in a few words, that you are the reality, the one reality, the reality of all phenomenal events, and that this reality that I am is not a form, is not an experience, is not contained in any phenomenal form. It's not contained in the brain, it's not contained in the body, it's not contained in this room, it's not contained in the cosmos. The cosmos appears in me, is made out of me, is my dream. So with this short introduction, if you have any questions, please let's explore whatever questions you may have concerning this, or any questions you may have in your life.
I don't have a question. I just want to say that your words were very strong. I get a strong resonance, and I just want to thank you for the beauty of your words.
You know, it's like Renate, like when we haven't seen maybe our brother or mother or sister in a long time, and then we see them at the airport. You see that a lot at the airport, where people, they know each other, they haven't seen each other in a long time, and then they see each other and they recognize they're waiting, you know, people are coming through, and then suddenly your mother or your brother or your sister or son or daughter arises, and you feel this happiness. It's a recognition. You're recognizing something that is within you. You're recognizing the love. You know, it's there. The love is there, and in this recognition, it goes. Yes. You know, it's very beautiful. And we are the self. I mean, there is deep down we know deep down what we are, what we love, what let's say what we are looking for, if you want to use that way of saying it. We know what we are. We know the truth. We know that we are this universal being, this universal presence. But maybe out of habituation, we have sort of accepted that notion that we are a born body-mind, that we are some event in time and space. And actually, if you go out in the marketplace and speak in the market, say, we are consciousness, I am not a woman, you have to be careful, because they might think that you need to go to the asylum for there is such a strong, unquestioned identification that is not even seen. So we don't rarely, in very, very few cases, this is really when there is a gift from God, a gift from consciousness that invites you to look and question whether that is a real assumption, there is a real truth or an assumption that I am a body-mind. And when you look at that, you can notice in your contemplation that a body-mind is an appearance that appears to you. Whether it appears to you as an image, you know, when you look at the picture, you look in the mirror, it appears to you. It's an appearance that appears to you. Or when your body, for example, appears as a bodily sensation. You know, it's this sensation. You can turn your attention to any sensation right now, the sensation of your feet on the ground. So this sensation, something is perceiving it. And there has to be some awareness of this perception, of this sensation, because without an awareness of the sensation, what would the sensation be, really? It always refers to the awareness. And so somehow in our conditioning, we look out. We assume that there is a separate subject, a mortal subject that is experiencing an external world. So there is an internal reality that is separate from an external reality. And as soon as that setup has been accepted, everything that you perceive seems to be outside of you. It's only when you start questioning that some doubts will start to arise. But until you come to that questioning, everything you perceive confirms your initial assumption. It's like a proof. And you feel that you're feeling things here about things happening out there. Everything that you experience from that unexamined assumption confirms. So in a way, like ignorance confirms itself. But when grace arises and there is an invitation to the contemplation of what is it that's real, what is the reality of my experience right now, and what is the nature of that reality, and you say yes to that invitation, and you say yes to the contemplation, you find that the formless self reveals itself as this formless presence that is untouched by the phenomenal events. It's untouched by the images on the screen. So then we go over again to that recognition, because there is a tendency to somehow slip back into I am this person and things are happening to me or occurring to me. Oh my God, what's going to happen to me? There is a habitual tendency to go back to ignorance. But over and over, we come to this aware presence, because the aware presence is always here, always. It's without aware presence, there is no perception. And although this aware presence cannot be experienced as a form, cannot be seen like you see a bird, cannot be felt like you feel your knee, although it cannot be perceived as a thought, this formless presence is undeniable. And you recognize presence, awareness, and you recognize that I am this awareness, not a female awareness or a male awareness, but that I am this formless awareness. You recognize that directly, not via the mind, not via any learning or via any study of the Upanishads. You come to it directly. So if you have any questions.
My husband recently passed away, and we had a very deep connection because the connection was in the truth. My husband actually recognized the truth before me, and I still feel connected with him, but I wonder who is connected with whom.
Yes. Hello, Bridget. Yes. Consciousness is the one reality. The one reality. So you could say that everything is connected via consciousness. But this connection is like the connection of the water in the ocean, or like the connection of the waves to the water. It's a connection that is beyond the understanding of connection. At the understanding level, A is connected to B, but the connection of consciousness is only A, is only that one reality. So the question is not who is connected to who or what is connected to what. The question is what is not connected to who is not connected to who, what is not connected to what. And when you examine that, Bridget, you will find that the only impression of non-connection or separation is just a thought that's arising, and maybe a sensation, a feeling that's arising, that is saying, oh, I am not you, I am separate from you, I feel you are over there and I'm over here. That only impression of separation arises as a mentation or as a sensation. But then when you examine it further, you will find that the mentation is intimately one with that which perceives it. You see, although the mentation might say, oh, I am separate from you, that very mentation and that very you, that other, that supposedly other, is a perception that I'm having. I am perceiving this thought, I am perceiving this so-called other, but I am actually perceiving my perception of the thought. I am perceiving my perception of a so-called other. And when you contemplate that you're perceiving your perception, you may come to realize that your perception and the contemplator of the perception, which means you, are intimate.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Like right
Actually,
now.
it's kind of beautiful too. The marriage promise says, "Till death do us part." We felt death does not do us part.
There is no apart. Yes, beautiful. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you for your answer. That makes it very clear.
Okay. Yes, beautiful. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes.
Magdi, this is Barbara.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello, Barbara. Hello.
When you were talking about being at the airport and then suddenly your loved one comes amidst these strangers and you have that sense of recognition and there's that happiness.
Yes.
I've been experiencing for some time now that I can see everyone that way. I mean, anyone in the world, you walk down the street or sit next to them in the metro or something, and you look at them, and there's your daughter, there's you, right?
Yes, beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yes.
But I'm also still do have sensations of not so much ideas, but sensations of separateness.
Yes, yes.
I've wondered if, I just so enjoy the day-to-day connections with people, the affirmation of, aren't we in this together? Aren't we really one? Which a lot of people respond, a lot of people know that, actually, in terms of the way they respond, that, yep, here we are. But I sometimes think that attaches me to an experience of being separate and then wanting to experience not being, experiencing a change. I don't know what it would be to know, to just rest in peace, knowing my connection with everyone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. So when you look over the street and you see people walking around, or you go into marketplace and there are people walking around, and you have this lovely feeling that they are me, they are my sons and daughters, they are myself, they are my very self. It's a very happy recognition in the waking dream of a truth that does not belong to the dream.
Okay.
And the recognition that they're all myself, everything is me, is a happy savoring in the what we refer to as the waking dream of the reality of consciousness, that out of which the dream appears. So consciousness is sort of savoring itself in the marketplace, in recognition. It's I, it is all I, it's all myself. And it's very beautiful. But consciousness, as it's doing that, remains free. Remains, it can drop that recognition and then just sit and look at the birds and enjoy the singing of the birds. Or it can put on Mozart, concerto and listen to some music, or it can go for a walk. So it remains free. Actually, it doesn't go for a walk. It doesn't do anything. Consciousness is its innate freedom, peace, beauty, love, and happiness. It does not need any celebration, but it loves to celebrate. You see? It loves to celebrate. So when there is a celebration, then you say, oh, how beautiful, how lovely, I love it. I love it. I love the whole thing. But you remain with your hands open. You don't grasp it. You don't recall it. You don't remember it. You don't store it. Oh, I had this wonderful, experience, etc. No. When you celebrate, you're celebrating right now. Full celebration, and in the celebration there is a complete letting go. It's a celebration is going into the entire space, and it's blessing everybody and everything. You see, it's not coming this way; it's actually going that way. You see, it's flowing.
Yeah, good.
Through you into the entire space. You see?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
I do. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes. It's an openness of being, a joyful, effortless, innate openness of being, borderless presence. It's just shining light onto everything, whatever it is that it shines on. And everything that consciousness shines on is blissed and blissful. What is not happy is when that condition comes in, that the me condition comes in. The habit, the inherited me tendency to define it, box it, wrap it, and store it in my warehouse.
Yes.
But consciousness is everything. It has no warehouse.
Helpful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay. Nice talking to you. So if there are any questions.
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, hello, Teresa.
Hey, everyone. Yes, hi.
Hello, Teresa.
Wondering about, you mentioned we are the heart. And would you speak on that?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the heart is the center of love, the mind, the head, the center of thinking, analyzing, comparing, filing. At the heart level, it is love. Yeah, it's love. And before the heart goes to the mind, there are no conditions. It's just love. There are no terms. There are no sides. It's just an open, borderless heart. It's not a feeling. The love, the heart, expression of the heart is not a feeling. So at the heart level, it's just complete openness. And then the mind appropriates the heart and says, yes, I recognize the love. And very quickly, it says, these are the conditions. I want you to do this and that, and oh, you're disappointing me, oh, I thought you loved me, etc. It sort of turns the borderless, unconditional quality of the heart into a set of rules and regulations. So, in a way, the spiritual journey is the dissolution of the mind into the heart, meaning there are two paths. One of them is the path of the heart, which is a pure devotional path, where we just surrender everything to God, to truth, to the Guru, to consciousness, with complete devotion. It's the path of pure heart path. And then there is the path of the mind, which is the path of inquiry, of turning the capacity of the mind to reason, turn it towards consciousness, towards the inquiry into what is the reality, what is it that is real, what is my reality, what is the reality of the world, what am I, what is it that perceives, what is the reality of the perceiver, what is the reality of what is being perceived, what is the relationship between the perceived and the perceiver, etc. So this is the path of the mind. The correct path of the mind is when the mind is turned towards the inquiry, towards the contemplation, towards consciousness. And the correct path of the heart is when the heart, although it's not fully revealed, turns itself towards prayer and devotion to the self, to consciousness, to truth, to God. There are certain predispositions that we have that make us lean one way or the other, or closer towards the path of devotion in some cases, and closer towards the path of inquiry in some other cases. Now, I'm speaking of those two paths as if they're completely different paths. That's just so I can clarify about the path of devotion and the path of inquiry. But in fact, the path of inquiry has love for truth in it. So we inquire, we investigate out of our love for truth. So there is bhakti, there is already devotion in the path of inquiry. And the path of the heart, at some point or the other, it's going to lead you to some questioning. This is going to, through the devotion, it's going to dissolve and loosen, not dissolve, I say loosen some of your structures. And when the structures are loose enough, then you will be ready for inquiry. Eventually, those two paths really are one path. They merge as one path. The path of devotion at some point brings you to what am I truly. It brings you to the revelation of what I am truly. And the path of inquiry, it's gonna, as you're you're in the inquiry, it's going to fall into the heart and bring love and growing love into the space. So it's important in your journey that you recognize what truly resonates for you in your spiritual quest, but not at the feeling level. So at the feeling level, we have perceptions and we experience certain thoughts and certain worldly experiences with a teacher or with, I would say with a teacher, let me stay with that. And because of our personal conditions, we feel a certain a certain attraction, which is normal. It's part of the process. But if you just follow your feelings, you will be either going the long way in your journey, or you will get disappointed if you are meeting in your relationship with your teacher or with your friend. You will be disappointed because your feelings are bound to be disappointed. So feelings are an inherited me or a learned me tendency that is superimposed onto a certain neutral situation. It's an add-on. It's a me add-on. It's an add-on that tries to maintain a me, my feelings, how I'm feeling about this and feeling that. And the purpose of a feeling is simply to maintain a me. So it may sound very cold, saying, well, what is it then, you're living without feelings? What sort of an insensitive person are you? You see? But that's incorrect, because empathy, meaning to sense and to have this connection with somebody else's misfortune or difficulties, is not a feeling. It's actually a transparency where what is happening over there is actually being sensed right here. It's because there aren't actual borders in consciousness. So the empathy and the compassion doesn't come from the mind, doesn't come from how I feel about your situation or something like that. It's a direct recognition of the hardship that you're going through, or of the difficult situation that is arising right now. But what's really beautiful about empathy and compassion, when it's the proper, meaning it's coming not from a feeling, how I'm feeling about you, how I'm feeling about your situation, is that there is also an understanding that although you're going through some difficulty, there is a message in there that is meant for you to call your attention onto a certain beliefs that you have, or certain behaviors which follow our beliefs, that is going in the wrong direction. And so life becomes difficult, meaning consciousness squeezes a little bit, tightens the squeeze with only one intention, is to call you back, to bring your attention, to look and inquire and pause and stop, you see? So difficulty in life don't necessarily evoke in a sage some feelings about, oh my goodness, what you're going through. No. What you're going through is your own doing, meaning consciousness is expressing itself through a certain loss or through a certain disappointment. It's calling your attention that whenever you are placing your happiness onto a condition, a worldly condition, whenever you're placing your happiness on a relationship, on a situation, you will be disappointed. Because happiness is not the result of anything. Happiness is our innate nature. Freedom, beauty, and love is our innate being. And that recognition is what consciousness is inviting you to. It's inviting you to the fiesta, it's inviting you to the feast. And when you're going away, it tells you, come back. But when you don't hear the message, then it puts a thorn in your shoe or a pebble in your shoe, then you cannot walk. Every time you walk further away, it hurts your foot. And you get a blister and you have to stop. You say, oh my God, my foot is hurting. But you have to stop. And at some point, you turn around, which I know you've already done. You turn around and you start to inquire. And the inquiry into the self, into truth, is not about feeling good. Because feelings pass and go. They're just a me interpretation of events. I'm feeling like this about that. I'm feeling like that about this. I had a good experience. I feel great about it. Where is it now? I'm feeling lousy right now. I don't have it. I need it again. You see? So at the heart level, there are no conditions. The heart does not love when it has a certain experience. The heart does not love when this or that happens. The heart is love. Is love. And the heart is at the consciousness level, it's the love center. Yeah? At the mind level, it is intelligence and clarity, wisdom. At the body level, it's transparency and borderlessness. At the world level, at the perceptual level, it's beauty and celebration and creativity.
Well, when you put it that way, it's pretty difficult to decline the invitation.
No, you don't decline the invitation from consciousness, from God. No.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Very clear and beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, Teresa, okay. Hello, Isaac. Isaac writes, conditional behavior. Hello, Isaac. Hello, good to see you.
Hello. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Isaac. Isaac writes, conditional behavior is included in consciousness. It seems a paradox. You see, Isaac, yes, consciousness also is the one that says, yeah, I will be happy when I will find my partner, I will be happy when I live in a bigger house, I will be happy, I don't know, when I have more money, etc. Yes, in a way it is a paradox because everything is consciousness. But also, also, what consciousness says is, when you say, yes, I will be happy when I have a bigger house, and you work hard for the bigger house, you are constantly concerned, when will I make it, 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 yeah? Constantly very hard, you're waking up early in the morning, taking 5 jobs, and no, and just, and it's in traffic, whatever. And also, consciousness, which is unhappy, right? I mean, it's unhappy to be. It's nice to be working a few hours a day, 2, 3, 4 hours, and then, And
Yeah.
also, what consciousness tells you, and that you can take my word for it, or you can try it out, but please don't try it out. Just take my word for it. That when you go and you get that bigger house, that is your happiness. Now you have it. And now the roof, you have to fix the roof. You have to make sure that the garden is garden. You have to fix the plumbing. You have to paint the walls, and there are all sorts of your happiness that is connected to the house is very temporary.
Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to say is that, although it's a paradox, you have to listen to the entire message from consciousness. And the entire message from consciousness is, yes, there is happiness in getting a relationship, or happiness in getting a situation, and happiness in getting an experience, or in getting some object. But this happiness comes at the cost of a lot of unhappiness.
Yeah.
And this happiness is very short-lived and will flip like that, and then you're in the unhappiness again.
Yeah.
So you have to listen to the entire message, you see? So once you get the message, that you're hearing the entire message, you stop, you say, wait a minute, consciousness is telling me, yeah, there is a big treasure out there, but it's also telling me there are 50 lions and tigers that are out there, and they're all hungry. They're very hungry. You see, so I'm getting the entire message. I am reading the fine print also. There's a fine print, not just, the fine print. Yes?
Yeah.
And also what consciousness tells you is that whenever you are happy, there is no mind. When you love, when you're in peace, all conditions dissolve. All conditions dissolve. And there is just peace, just beauty, just love, just happiness, just openness of being, just well-being. And the mind is just not there. Once you understand that, when the mind comes and says, hey, you need to go get this and that in order to be happy, you tell the mind, hey, what do you know about happiness? After all, when there is happiness, you are not there, meaning you don't even know happiness because you are not there. How can you, that is not there when there is happiness, tell me anything that is true about happiness?
It's just a concept,
Yes.
an idea.
Yes. The mind does not know happiness. Happiness does not belong to the mind. Happiness can shine onto the mind, and meaning the consciousness can shine onto the mind. And when it shines onto the mind, then there is peace. The mind becomes quiet. When happiness is not shining onto the mind is saying, oh, I need this, I need that. Oh, why did I do this? Why did she do that? Why didn't this happen to me? Why it happened to the neighbor and did not happen to me? That's how the mind is when consciousness is not shining onto it. It's important that you understand that, and that you become clear about that, so that you don't continue to fall prey to only part of the message of consciousness. So you can listen to the entire message and say, okay, I got you. I got you. There are 20 lions out there and they're hungry. I think I'm just going to stay nice home here. It's okay. I have my soup. I have my salad. I have a couple of friends. They're visiting me. Beautiful. Yes. Now, one more thing that I would like to share with you about happiness that is conditional. When you are desiring something, you have a personal desire for something, and you pursue it, you pursue it, you pursue it, and of course, you're not happy yet because you haven't gotten it yet. But at some point you get it. You get that raise, or you get that job, or you get that money, or you get that relationship, or whatever it is that you are pursuing. And then you are happy. And you say, oh, great, I am happy because I got that object that I wanted. But I'm inviting you to contemplate that, in fact, you are not happy because you got that situation, or you got that job, or you got that relationship. You are happy because for that moment you are desireless. When your desire is met, you are desireless. Like between thoughts, there is no mind, you are desireless. There is peace. So I'm inviting you to contemplate that happiness is not in the attainment of your desire, but in the end of desire.
Thank you, Magni.
Okay, Isaac, good to see you. Beautiful, very lovely. Yes. Hopefully I'll see you soon in March.
Yes.
Tara and I are coming. Wonderful. Looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, be there, working with
Beautiful.
the food and everything.
Yeah, great. See you soon. Hello, Renate. Sir Renate, you're right. I have a strong desire to be in nature. Is it comparable to desire for money, or can it help me to be in nature? That's a very good question, Renate. Now, when I was talking earlier about desires with Isaac, I was talking about desires that come from a person, meaning they come from a sense of lack. They originate from a sense of lack, that I need to have this in order to be happy. So these sort of desire that are starting with the assumption that my happiness is out there are different from celebratory desires. There are desires that are impersonal desires. They arise out of celebration, out of love. It would be beautiful to go for a walk in nature. It would be really lovely to invite friends over and we sit together, we have a meal together and just enjoy each other's presence and company. It would be very beautiful to, I want to paint, so you get some paint and you start to learn how to paint or explore the creativity of painting. So no, there is no is it comparable? No, to a desire to walk in nature can be a celebratory desire. It's not a desire to run away from something. It's not a desire to seek something. It is just a celebratory desire. There is great beauty in nature. There is stillness in nature. There is tremendous creativity in nature. And so, yes, we say yes to that. It's very beautiful. I am that. I celebrate that.
But I see this aspect that for me there's also suffering if it's not possible, you see.
Well, then if there is suffering because it's not possible, well, if there is suffering because it's not possible, then there is some condition upon your happiness. So you might be in a situation where you would love to be in nature, but there is no nature around you. You live in New York City or whatever, Los Angeles. And so in this case, there are some options for you to be in nature, which is to travel. You have to travel. You know, you rent a cabin, or maybe you explore if there are friends who live in nature where you can go and enjoy being in nature with them. Now, the desire might grow for you, in you, to be more in nature than in the city. Then you open yourself up to how you could make this happen. See, because this desire is arising from consciousness. It's saying, it's really, I love to be in nature. So you open to, okay, let's see how it happens. There are, of course, many conditions in your life. There are work situations, there is family, etc. Whatever particular conditions there are in your life that are not easy to pick up and go maybe 50, 60 miles away, who knows, in nature. But you are open to whatever consciousness can provide. So consciousness hears your desire when your desire is impersonal. But when your desire is tainted with, I can only be happy if I am in nature, I cannot be happy otherwise, then consciousness is going to tell you, wait a minute, that's not true. That's not true. You are consciousness. You are I, and I am happiness. Are you telling me that I can only be happy in nature? So it's going to teach you a lesson that, in fact, your happiness is complete independence, complete freedom. Freedom and happiness come together. You cannot have happiness with a partial freedom, or a partial freedom and full happiness. You can't. Freedom and happiness are like, in a way, they're the same rainbow. A rainbow has all these different colors, but you cannot have a rainbow that is all red and doesn't have green and yellow, and it contains all of it. So the happiness and the freedom come together. So when you are feeling that there is unhappiness because you are not in nature, and that your happiness depends on being in nature, I will invite you to contemplate that consciousness is complete freedom and is already complete happiness. This does not mean that you would not be in a more celebratory, sweeter, more peaceful, less horns, less the neighbors playing music, etc., than in nature than in the city. That's still a fact of being in nature. It's peaceful, it's tranquil, there is animals that are running around. So your heart is open for that. Yeah? That is open for that. And you have to remain open to that possibility of, I love nature, I love to be in nature. So you explore ways of being in nature. But don't make it a condition onto your happiness. You are just where you need to be, and you have all what you need in order to, if you like to celebrate nature, to celebrate nature. Explore what is available to you to celebrate being in nature. If that's a deep calling for you, you will not be able to resist it. And there will be no real obstacles to it. Because it is coming from love, and nothing stands in the way of love. Sometimes we are in nature, we don't even see that we are in nature. Just saying that as a side note. So it's more like I would love to be in nature. You see, there's no suffering in that. It would be beautiful to be in nature, to walk in nature, to be close to nature, whatever. There's no suffering in that. It would be fantastic to go in nature and love to go spend some time in nature. Be beautiful. That's beautiful. There's no suffering in that. Okay, if there are any other questions.
Magdi, hello.
Yes.
Is there still some time?
Yes. Yes. Hello, David.
Hi. I have noticed lately I've been meditating formally for quite some time. You know, with strict techniques, follow the breath, and do not let the mind wander. And since a year or so, maybe 2 years, the desire to do this has dropped away. So I still sit in meditation, but I care much less if the mind wanders or not. Seems a bit like a paradox. It's nice to be clear about what goes on in the mind and what goes on in the environment. but since I have dropped this, or since this intention dropped, it's like it's more enjoyable. It seems that the way you present things is less about efforting. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you are the open space, you are the limitless presence, you are the reality, you're not a form, you're not a thing. You are the infinite. What concerns can there be? You are complete freedom. You are the border, formless, reality, presence, truth. What concern can there be? All concerns or work are at the mind level. Now, when there is a calling to do a certain formal meditation of following the breath or being present to the breath or counting the breath, whatever, okay, that calling comes through you, from consciousness, whatever filters it goes through, somehow it reaches you and it speaks to you and you do so. And at some point, that this dissipates or shifts, and is a beauty in that shift. It's not contrived and it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
It feels proper, correct, happy, joyful, free. There might be a thought that comes up, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? Shouldn't I be, should I not be? But that's this habitual personal concern about the me, but that is not happy. So of course you don't feed that, you don't give that any credence, you let it go, and you remain with what is unfolding effortlessly, what at the deep level feels correct, right, pure, happy, no personal intention.
Mm-hmm.
Because consciousness has no personal intention, because it's everything. It is not trying to become anything or trying to become anybody. It is the isness of everything. So I, for many years, did all sorts of practice, and at some point it shifted. It just became just pure sitting, pure being.
Yes.
And then even that formal practice dissolved, and but it always felt right.
Mm-hmm.
So love requires no effort. The effort is to go away from love in a way which is really crazy, but love is, it doesn't matter if at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, your child comes to you and is thirsty, you get up, even though you might stumble, but you find a way to do that, even, or her wants a drink. Doesn't matter if you know, your wife or your mother, your loved one is 200 miles away and is in need of something, and you drop. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you'll quickly drop it, of course, except if it's an emergency. You know, you have to finish something really quickly, and you just go. You know, no matter the cost, no matter the seemingly hardship that it might take, because your love is beauty. It just wants to love. It has no, doesn't want to be in a corral. It's in the openness. It's completely in the openness. You see. And the path of the spiritual journey is a journey of love, of celebration of love, of first realizing that I am love, but what I truly am is love, and then the celebration of love, the celebration of beauty, of freedom, of happiness, of the oneness, our wholeness, the wholeness and totality of consciousness. So whenever there is effort that arises from love, from your love, I remember, like, there would be these retreats where after 8 or 10 hours of sitting, then they would say, this is a special retreat today, we're going to sit 2 more hours, and we're sitting with our knees, you know, or, you know, like in the Japanese. And you go, oh my God, oh God, oh God, can I do it? Can I do it? I don't know if I can do it. I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. Oh my God, I'm gonna do it. The boot camp. But you know, when there is effort that's coming, you know, from your passion, then it may look like effort, but it's also it's love that's taken on this form.
It's a nice reminder. If it feels right, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What feels right when you are following that? You're following your heart. You're following, you know, your bliss. There won't be a negative. There won't be a bitterness or bitter ending or some bitter consequences. That's one way you can gauge. There won't be complications or conflict. Okay, thank you for your question, David.
Thank you, Maggie.
Yeah. So maybe if there is any other question.
Well, Magdi, I do have something I'd love to hear.
Hello, Ananda.
A little bit share with you is I'm here with my very nice family, very nice people. We get along really well, lots of love.
Mm-hmm.
However, the thing to mention is they are all scientifically oriented, materialist. It's like materialist version is their religion, really. And whereas I find myself to be outside of a religious context and in an open context, they think that that's all nonsense and that consciousness comes from the brain only.
Right.
And they've read books about it, big fat books. They've studied. They're as into this as I'm into as I'm into consciousness being borderless and
yes.
So I'm finding it's like putting a damper on the fun of being with them.
Why are you putting a damper?
Why am I making it a damper? That's really the issue.
Yeah, why? I mean, you know, you can let them be, you know?
This thing is they'll ask me it's something, and then they ask, but without much depth behind the question.
Not a sincere asking.
No.
Like a setup type of asking.
It's a setup.
Let's ask Ananda so we can skin him. You know, let's have him open himself up because we have the darts to throw at him. Well, be wise and just make a joke out of it. Reply with humor or. I don't know. Just change the topic or.
Yeah. It is a setup because I'm excited to share and then there's no opening for the share.
Well, you can only share when there is an opening. You can only share when there is an invitation. The invitation may be via a question, or you may sense even when there is not a question, you can sense a certain readiness or a certain openness, or I wouldn't say readiness, but a certain openness, and then you can share, and you can cease sharing when you feel that you know, sometimes the openness, maybe you might have misinterpreted. There was an openness that there really wasn't one, or the openness that was is no longer.
Right. Yes. Okay. Now I have another question. That was great. This question is, when there was a post that you put recently saying, if your path is being in awareness of awareness, I think you put it that way, being aware of awareness, and that's the contemplation which is alive for you, then give yourself to it fully, and just don't be distracted by anything else. You recall something like that?
Sort of, more or less, but
well,
what is the question?
The question is, and also, you know, when I read I am that or something, and it points to, I can easily access this sense of I am, and more it's a more pure sense. I am without basically anything else. And I find there's a sort of an exhortation from yourself and others to stay in that, stay with that simple I am experience. And I find that then I'm starting to do something. Maybe this is a little bit like David's question, I don't know. I'm starting to do it's like, okay, beautiful, I am, and it's borderless, you know, my nature is borderless, and this is wonderful, you know, and then something else comes to mind, like, now it's time to get a glass of water. Now maybe I should do some stretching before bed. Whatever other things come up which are not that pure I am contemplation or awareness dwelling in itself, and I just wonder about, you know, the value of.
Well,
maybe I'm beyond the place where I need to do that sort of thing of I'm going to stay in this kind of thing.
Yeah, you contemplate. I am aware. I am aware that I'm aware. I am awareness. Awareness is aware that it is aware. Only when it speaks to you. Only when it rises. Only when the remembrance of it arises. Or when you find yourself in a contracted place and then you find that, wait a minute, I recall that, from satsang or from whatever, I recall that there's a possibility of perceiving this contraction as an object, not as what I am. So you go, well, I am perceiving this contraction. So it might be a situation that invites you to the I am, I am the presence, I am this aware presence. But when you are thirsty, you have a drink. When there's a thought of you to go for a walk, just, grab your shoes, get your shirt, your jacket, whatever, go for a walk. When you feel like you want to, do some stretching before going to bed, just, roll up your mat and do your stretching, stretch good, like this, like that, twist like to the right, whatever, it's all good. Don't make a problem out of I am or out of whether I'm aware. No.
I don't know. Like, Nisargadatta talked about, going, the issue here is going all the way to a complete, the desire is to go to a complete, I don't even know how to put it. You put it beautifully often. Don't stop part way kind of thing. And the most profound thing that I know is that kind of dwelling in that state.
Well, you cannot serve two masters. If you serve the master, I am Ananda, I am a man, I am this person, I am this body-mind, and I am awareness, that is speaking from both sides of your mouth. Is that the right expression?
Yes.
Speak. Yes. Okay. So, what am I truly? This interest, the passion is for truth. The passion is for truth. I want to know the truth, what is really true. Am I this body-mind that is appearing to me as bodily sensations, as thoughts, as images, as perception? Or am I that is aware of the body-mind, that is aware of the world, that is aware of thoughts, that is aware of perceptions? What am I truly? Okay, you see? What am I truly? See? So this question has to be your main passion. Yeah, your main passion. Of course, you need to exercise, to stretch, to eat, to go for a walk, to etc. But you do not need to leave what you truly are. You don't need to become a male or a man or a father or mother or a sister or brother, or you don't need to become any of that in order to stretch or in order to cook a meal or to go for a walk or whatever. You can remain as with that question, what am I truly? Could it be that I am this aware presence? You can remain with that question, but if that question leaves you and then the thought arises, I would like to, go invite some friends for dinner or something like that, then you go with that. Because there is no problem with that. That is arising in awareness. Consciousness saying, okay, let's invite some friends for a meal. Okay, now, if consciousness says, let's invite someone for a meal, and then you add on, well, I will really be disappointed and bummed out if they don't like what I cooked or if they don't come, then, you're welcome to create your own suffering. You see, to add on, you're adding on this condition that I will be happy only if they celebrate my food and say, yes, you are the greatest cook in the world, and they, etc. See, so we add on, meaning in our conditioning, we add on that the me story, that, oh, will he like me, will she like me, or am I doing good, how am I, all that is add on. But the thought of inviting friends over for dinner may come from consciousness, or it may come from trying to fill a void. If you're trying to fill a void, if the thought comes from trying to fill a void, okay, then it's not an impersonal desire. It's trying to serve the person, to make me feel whole. But you already are wholeness, you see?
Right.
You already are the totality of consciousness. So coming back to your question, in terms of what David was saying earlier about a practice, only practice when you love it, when you are loving it. Don't practice out of a sense of duty or out of having read what Nisargadatta said you should, or what Magdi said you should be practicing every minute, every day, and so on. I don't think I ever, if I say that, I say all sorts of things. In certain circumstances, they are meaningful. In other circumstances, they're not. So, like I said, I can retract. So I retract. So you can celebrate your love for truth, and the celebration of your love for truth can take the form of this inquiry. What am I truly? But if you're doing inquiry in order to become a better person, well, that's not real inquiry, because you're already assuming you're a person. You're already brought an end to an inquiry right from the start. So you're doing an inquiry out of love. So you're doing your inquiry on behalf of everybody. You're doing an inquiry on behalf of consciousness. So consciousness is inviting you, hey, you, Ananda, time for you to do inquiry. I want you to celebrate. I want you to come home, find what I am, what I, consciousness, am. That's the calling. I'm sending you this calling. So you respond to consciousness calling on behalf of consciousness. But when consciousness tells you it's time for you to go swimming in the lake, then grab your swimsuit and grab your towel and go swim in the lake.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
So the contemplation has to be a happy contemplation. Contemplation that has love in it.
And that really ties in with my first question. When I'm with the family who don't quite on the same wavelength, be with the happiness of my own contemplation and be with the love, and it's really up to me to not create a dilemma out of it.
Absolutely. I mean, your family loves you, and they want to feel your love. They don't want to listen to non-duality, or they want to feel your love. They want to see you. They want to laugh with you. They want to, of course, there are like tendencies when family get together. They rehash old stories, and you're not there to fix them. Sometimes you have to sort of maneuver so that, what is the expression? You live with your skin intact, or something like that. You live with your. I have five brothers. When we get together, believe me, well, it's no longer the case, but in the past I used to have to be careful to live with my skin intact.
Okay.
I just go over all sorts of stuff. So sometimes you learn to be judicious, to sort of avoid certain topics or not contribute. You might not need to be part of every conversation, you see.
Right, and even as this subtle thing is, as long as I'm in my inner contemplation, even in the midst of the fun of the social scene, I'm doing it for everyone in a sense. I'm letting consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We are just this one universal being.
Mm. Mm.
Thank you.
You know, we're this wholeness of being. Yeah. Okay, Ananda, thank you for your question. Enjoy the rest of your trip with your family and your trip back home. Thank you, everybody, for your lovely company, your friendship, and your questions. I love you. See you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you.